Good afternoon, everyone. I want to welcome you to our regular council meeting for March 18th, 2024. Before we start, I'd like to do our land acknowledgement. We'd like to acknowledge the traditional territories and the oral practices, which include the Blackfoot Nation, which include the Siksika, the Kainai, and the Piikani. We also acknowledge the Tsuut'ina and the Stoney Nakoda First Nation and Métis Nation District 4, and all the people who make their homes in Treaty 7 region to southern Alberta. We're making this acknowledgement to demonstrate our continuing efforts to work together as we strive for reconciliation through increased and collective learning. So I call this meeting to order. We have an agenda before us, and is there any items to add or delete from the agenda? Yes, Al.
Thank you, through the chair, to Deputy Mayor and Council. The Brooks Bandits have requested that we hold off discussing the matter as to the extension of the ice at this time, so our recommendation is we remove this from the agenda today.
Okay. Is that okay? All in favor of that? Okay. Carried. Thank you. All right. Then we just need a motion to adopt the agenda as presented, or I guess not, as amended. All in favor of that? Good. All right. I don't have that though. Okay. Oh, that was okay. Do I need to read this?
You already did.
All right. Good. Okay. So, all right. Okay. So we're number 3 is regular council meeting minutes for March 4th, 2024. Moved by Councillor Dries that the minutes of the regular council meeting held March 4th, 2024 be approved. Any questions or comments? All in favor? Good. Moved by Councillor Jessica that February 2024 the RCMP report be accepted as information. Staff, sir.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Thank you, Council, for having me today. This report is for the month of February 2024. In that month, we responded to 318 calls for service in Brooks and lodged a total of 30 prisoners. We completed 131 criminal record checks and issued 52 violation tickets. Some significant events from the month of February. We issued 5 provincial sanctions for impaired driving in the city of Brooks and County of Newell. This number is significantly lower than the previous month, which is good because I think the enforcement remained the same number of vehicle stops, so there was a good reduction in that. We had a train derailment on February 5th near on Highway 1A. There was a total of 34 cars that derailed, some containing hazardous material. Luckily, there was no incidents, no danger to the public, and no injuries as a result of that. On February 7th, there was a break and enter at the Newell Recycling Depot. We responded, got a description of the people who committed the break and enter as well as the vehicle that they used to flee the scene. We located that vehicle and arrested the 2 males, and they're held for a hearing. Both of these men are known to us for property crime in the area. On February 14th, we were out on patrol and noticed a male who we knew was wanted on warrants. The male went into a residence. We attempted to make contact with him, and he didn't want to come out. And throughout, we were trying to talk to him while he was inside the residence. It was apparent that he was having some sort of crisis. We held the scene for additional resources, which brought the incident to a safe conclusion. As a result, a 45-year-old resident from Brooks was arrested for his outstanding warrant, as well as failing to comply with probation, and another charge of obstruction. On the 19th, we responded to a shoplifting complaint at Walmart. 2 females had stolen roughly $3,000 from there. Again, the females left in a minivan, and we were able to get a license plate through surveillance. We identified the registered owner and learned that they might be in Bassano. We attended there and ended up arresting a 29-year-old female from Calgary and recovered much of the stolen property. On February 21st, there was a break and enter at Moretta's. A large amount of jewelry was stolen. There's 2 suspects involved in that, and that's still under investigation. And that's my report for February. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Okay, is there questions on the report? Seeing none. Oh, sorry, my apologies. Councillor Wardrop.
Thanks. Sorry. Just a quick question. What was the cause of the train derailment?
I don't have the full report yet, but my understanding is there was something to do with an axle might have come loose on one of the train cars.
Okay. And so there's no concern going forward then, besides regular maintenance, I guess?
For sure, and,
Yeah.
and that whole, like the train derailment would be investigated by CP Police, and so I am still waiting for the report, but my understanding, yeah, it's just a faulty piece of equipment and kind of a one-off, so.
Thanks.
I guess that's all. Thank you so much for your report. All
Thank
right.
you
To the motion moved by Councillor Jessica that the February 2024 RCMP report be accepted as information. All in favor? Okay, thank you. Next up, we are going to have a delegation for Shock Trauma Air Rescue and Service, known as STARS, presentation. Just in front of you there's a little red button you'd push. And thank you.
If we keep it in the middle, should pick us both up? Well, thank you very much, Deputy Mayor and Council. It's a pleasure to be here and meet with you and bring you more information about STARS. I'm Glenda Farndon, the Senior Municipal Relations Liaison. It's a very long handle, results in the fact that I've worked with rural and urban councils across the entire province of Alberta, and I've been doing this for the last 18 years. And I now have the pleasure of having Jackie with me as well, which I think some of you do know. So Jackie?
Yeah, so most of you know me, Jackie Seeley. I live in the town of Bassano and worked in nonprofit for a number of years and also served on our council. So it's a pleasure to be here with STARS as part of this, supporting this essential service. Thank you so much for having us.
Okay, so we'll get started. Okay, so first and foremost, STARS is, in 2025, we will be celebrating 40 years of serving Albertans. We're very, very proud of that fact and continue to maintain all of these years as a charitable entity, meaning that everyone has access to STARS, and more importantly, at no cost to them. So as we move forward, we have a brand new fleet, we have new technology, latest in new medical equipment as well, and we'll bring you more information in the presentation. So our focus has always been about saving lives, but now we're wanting to provide critical care anywhere. So this is kind of the new focus, and always remembering that in a worst case scenario, STARS is your best hope. Next slide, please. So on the funding side, first and foremost, we had a previously 10-year affiliation agreement with Alberta Health Services for 20% government funding. This expired, the 10-year affiliation agreement, in 2020, and we have been year to year since then. In 2022, Alberta Health Services made an announcement that they would look at moving to 50% of operational costs. So this is based on the fact that to support a base, we're very much like the fire department. We're there 24/7. Our crews come in 2 different shifts. They live at the base, this type of thing. Based on that, $10 million per base. 3 bases in Alberta, Grand Prairie, Edmonton, and Calgary, so $30 million per year operational costs. So Alberta Health Services in 2022 did move to $15 million block funding of that operational cost. This does not include the Emergency Link Center located in Calgary, which is our dispatch center for all our bases. It does not include outreach, training, and education costs, and it does not include administration costs, so strictly operationally related. Since then, we've been the $15 million block funding, which we received last year as well. We're currently in very high-level discussions with Alberta Health Services senior leadership, hoping to secure another 10-year long-term service agreement at the $15 million block funding. So more to come at our next update to council, depending on how those discussions go ongoing right now. In the meantime, you know, our STARS lottery, we're very fortunate. We've had a successful STARS lottery that's well respected across the entire country. We are one of the top lotteries. And this has been going for more than 30 years. So it usually generates net $10 million. That pays for one base in Alberta. So we're very fortunate that we continue to have Albertans stand by our side. This week is the end of the lottery for this year, so we're very hopeful that we will get to that targeted amount again to provide for one base in Alberta. In the meantime, not including the lottery, when you take off the lottery costs, then it still leaves $18 million per year that must be fundraised. So I'm working with our corporate sector, working with a lot of communities and community events. We have some, you know, we're fortunate we have some community events that have been ongoing for more than 30 years, almost since the beginning of STARS. So we're very fortunate that we have a lot of Albertans that continue to respect and support STARS. Next slide. So this is where we're at now with our municipal map. So everything that you see green across the province of Alberta represents a rural municipality that is supporting STARS annually. Of that, so you can see that we're very much starting to include the entire and unite the entire province in some sustainable support that helps to offset costs, emission costs in their areas. Now, the red boxes represent 9 municipal leaders. We just last year welcomed Sturgeon County, and this June we will be welcoming Birch Hills County. These are leaders that have been ongoing giving support, have reached over $500,000 or more. There are 3 or 4 that are up to close to $3 million in support over the years. Their logos are represented on the STARS helicopter, and they have now made significant commitments of a fixed rate that's in their Emergency Protective Services budget. So we are actually a line item each year in their budget. Of that, the yellow boxes represent our regional leaders. So Newell County is one of our regional leaders. They have moved recently to a fixed rate of support and on standing motion. So again, we are a line item annually in their budget. All of the ones that show a yellow box shows that they are at least giving at a minimum $2 per capita, up to $90 per capita, and everything in between. So there is a lot of municipal leaders across the province. The little stars represent that there are now complete regional partnerships. This means that along with its county, every town and village that lies within a county's boundaries are also annual supporters of STARS. Any questions on that? Okay, next slide, please. So I wanted to bring you a 5-year overview of missions that happen within the city of Brooks as well as within the county of Newell boundaries. So this is up to December 31st of 2023. You can see that Brooks is a very busy hospital as well. And then we cover other areas throughout the county of Newell. Brooks Hospital, including the scene calls that are in or near Brooks, on an annual average then over these 5 years, City of Brooks sees an average of 26 missions per year. So it's quite significant in the fact that we are a very key resource to your medical professionals at your Brooks Hospital. Next slide, please. So this is a brand new project that has been 10 years in the making. Let's look on the left-hand side first. So this was being able to utilize patient postal code. No other patient information other than the postal code where the patient lived at the time they were flown by STARS. So we were able to access data back to 2010. So since 2010, a total of 302 residents that lie within County of Newell boundaries have been flown by STARS. For Brooks specifically, 211 residents that had a Brooks postal code at the time they were flown by STARS. More interestingly enough, though, is on the right-hand side. The red dots represent all of the different areas where these 302 residents were flown from. So showing you that accidents and illness do not happen just because you're close to home. Within that, you can see the County of Newell boundaries, the little blue outline there. So many red dots outside of County of Newell boundaries. So 302 total residents flown. 5 different STARS bases across 3 provinces have served these residents. 223 were picked up in Brooks. That's the listings across the bottom to show the pickup location and how many patients were picked up in these different locations, or residents, excuse me. And 79 of these residents were flown from 24 other locations across 3 provinces. This is a testament to why municipalities are partners with STARS. This is providing services to your residents, no matter where they may travel across Western Canada, where we have 6 bases, from Winnipeg, Saskatoon, Regina, and then the 3 bases in Alberta, and also serve Eastern BC. Next slide, please. Jackie.
Thank you, Glenda. Okay, so STARS is more than rapid transport. Our Emergency Link Center that's out of the Calgary base is integrated with all dispatch centers and has access to all resources across the province, utilizing very precise mapping coordinates. And as the designated critical care provider for Alberta, we also dispatch HALO in southeastern Alberta and HERO up in northeast Alberta. So receiving over 36,000 requests per year, on average 100 calls per day. It's a pretty busy center. The STARS transport physician is available 24/7 and provides medical and procedural guidance on every critical call. So this is including ground ambulance, rotary wing, and fixed wing. While the patient is being transported, they'll make logistical arrangements like scheduling a neurosurgeon, cardiac cath lab, or a CAT scan for a possible stroke patient, which is saving precious time. The STARS transport physician also provides virtual care to your rural medical professionals. Next slide. The H145 fleet is a generational investment. So we were able to sell off the remainder of our BK117 fleet to complete this capital campaign. So all 10 helicopters are paid for and all 6 STARS bases are H145 operational. So last year, we celebrated over 20 years of having night vision goggle capability. We are the first civilian organization in Canada to be able to fly at night. And with more than 50% of our call volume occurring at night, this is essential. So this picture says it all. The H145 is an airborne intensive care unit environment. So we'll take a little look at some of the medical equipment that's inside, starting with the handheld iStat lab. So within 2 minutes, with a few drops of blood and within less than 2 minutes, we can get blood test results for hemoglobin, blood gases, and electrolytes, which is essential for the crew members when they're monitoring multiple pain management drugs in a trauma patient. We also carry universal blood on board for over 10 years now. So STARS is a leader in innovation, again, being the first helicopter EMS program in North America to carry universal blood on board. And this is blood that can be accepted by anyone. STARS also launched a new blood plan protocol in Saskatchewan in October of 2023. So this is a new blood product that either prevents coagulation or promotes blood clotting. So that's pretty exciting to have that new innovation. It can prevent a person from bleeding out or slow down the blood clotting.
We would use this if the patient requires more than 2 units of blood. And this has just been brought to Alberta now in October.
Okay, the video laryngoscope is a game changer as well. It's an advancement in intubation. So the crew members are able to view the trachea on the screen there, and this is very important in navigating difficult airways in trauma patient, burn victims, or somebody who may have been crushed on impact. The handheld ultrasound also provides rapid diagnosis of collapsed lungs, internal bleeding, heart abnormalities, and even fetal complications in pregnant mothers. So now, with the way that the helicopters are integrated with Bluetooth, integrated Wi-Fi, and satellite connectivity, the STARS transport physician is actually able to send those test results to the receiving doctors at the receiving hospitals so that they can expedite a treatment plan while that patient is being transported. So every second matters, time is critical, and we're trying to save as much time on both ends. STARS crew members are world-renowned critical care experts. So every year at each of our bases, crew members undergo up to 200 hours of training. So this is either through online textbook training or working with our simulation mannequins. So each base is equipped, has a clinical educator at each base, and we have simulation labs at each base with all sizes of mannequins. So the clinical educator is able to replicate complex, distinct cases for the crew members to undergo and have the hands-on experience with, so that they can adapt to various situations. Every mission is unique, so having a wide skill set is very important. We also do in-the-field training because the crew must be prepared for the unthinkable, to work in inclement weather while considering patient vulnerability in these high consequence situations. Also, special to note for our fire departments, we do chain of survival training. So the fire departments can go online to stars.ca and request online landing zone training so that they have the experience and are comfortable with that portion of it. Our other training is being revamped and is taking more of a regional approach, so there'll be more on that at another time there. Glenda.
Thank you. And of course, because we are world-renowned for critical care expertise, in addition to all of the training that we go on, there is an international, worldwide Air Medical Transport Conference competition. It's a simulation competition utilizing the human patient simulators. This brings together helicopter EMS programs from around the world, London, Australia, around the world, to compete against each other. And so we have always hosted our own internal competition, allowing our crew members so that only one team of 2 gets the honor to represent STARS internationally at this competition each year. We have participated for 21 years now. Out of this, as you can see, it's a very rigorous competition. Our crews must triage multiple patients in the most inconceivable situations. They are graded on their decision making, they're graded on timing, and of course the patient outcomes. With that, this last year, our crew members, it was in late October, so to give you an idea of what they're up against, the scenario was that it was a head-on collision. The father was ejected from the vehicle with massive head trauma. The mother was in the front seat, pregnant, and going into cardiac arrest, and a child with massive head trauma in the back seat in the car seat. So the two people are managing these 3 critical patients, and then the lights went out in the conference center, and our crew had to continue for almost 2 hours in the dark managing their critical patients. Those are the kind of scenarios that they're up against. We're very proud of our crews. In the 21 years that we've participated, STARS has been top 3 in the world all 21 years, and we have taken first place 7 times in those 21 years. We are bringing your residents the highest level of critical care available in Alberta, and we're very proud of them. In closing, I'd like to say STARS was born out of necessity. This is Kelly Waldron. She was our very first patient flown. She was a critically ill twin newborn in southern Alberta. Little did any of us know how that particular mission was going to radically change the delivery of critical care in the rural areas of Alberta. Today, we have flown more than 55,000 missions. And we remain a charitable entity to ensure that anyone has access to STARS, more importantly, at no cost to the patient. So when City of Brooks, you know, if you're averaging 26 missions per year, just to give you kind of an idea, just if we're just talking mission-related costs only, this can be upwards of up to $250,000 per year just in mission-related costs. There's many different factors on a mission, you know, that on the basis of a cost of a mission, whether or not there's been a prolonged extrication, you know, extra fuel, whether or not the needs of the patient. If it's a stroke patient, then providing the thrombolytic drugs can mean almost $3,000 difference just for the thrombolytic drugs. So none of these costs are passed on to the patient. We remain a charitable entity to ensure that anyone has access to STARS. That's why there's such a widespread, united effort across the municipalities, that it's just a joint effort to provide some kind of sustainability annually. Our mission rate does not decrease, it continues to increase every year. Last year, across the 6 bases, we flew almost 3,500 missions, and half of those are usually always in Alberta. So our request to you is we would love to have the City of Brooks be our champion in southern Alberta. We have a lot of other towns and areas that you saw on the map in the yellow boxes, so there's lots of different smaller towns that have united with their county, and we would like to ask you to start a regional partnership with County of Newell. Our request to you, as you'd seen on the map, the majority are at a minimum $2 per capita rate. We know that this is a significant request for the City of Brooks, so we're asking for $1 per capita as a contribution to become a part of 95% of all of Alberta in a united effort that supports services for your residents wherever they may travel. So we'd like to ask you for your kind consideration this year and next year, which would be in conjunction with your council term. We are averaging 10 missions per day, so literally a life is saved every single day. But partnership has made this possible for almost 40 years. So we appreciate your consideration, and we thank you very much for your time.
Well, thank you so much for the presentation, for all the work that you do. I know going around to councils is not always fun, but we appreciate sharing this with us. I'll open it up for council for any questions or comments. I think we're all kind of in shock. Well, I'm
Not that in shock.
in trauma, yeah. John.
Oh, sorry, John.
I just want to
Councillor
say, I
Nesbitt.
live not too far from the hospital, and I hear STARS all the time, and very much appreciative of it. Someday I may get to use it myself, so I'm a big supporter.
Thank you.
Councillor Woodrow.
Just a comment, yeah. I just wanted to compliment you both on the incredible presentation. It was powerful. I think we're all just slack-jawed. You know, I think a lot of us in this room know somebody personally who has used STARS and saved their life. So a very important charity in our region, and thank you. And just thank you for all that you do. And we'll take your request into consideration. Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you through the chair to mayor and council. I would suggest that we take this request to our council committee meeting for discussion next Tuesday.
Sounds like a plan. Thank you so much for your presentation, and good luck on the Stars Lottery. And if you haven't bought your tickets, I know the
Yes.
Porsche 911 went the other day, so it was up. Okay, so on to that. Thank you so much. We will move by Councillor Nesbitt that the Shock and Trauma Air Response Service, known as STARS, presentation be accepted as information. All in favor? Thank you. Okay. All right, we are now going to move into a public hearing. And do I get to bang the gavel? I do. All right. All right. Gavin.
Yes, through the chair to mayor and council, bylaw 2403 is before you for a second time. It proposes to redesignate land at 77 Upland Boulevard West from the residential single detached to residential high density. And as per the requirements of the Municipal Government Act, a public hearing must be held prior to council's decision on the bylaw to rezone the land. At the time of writing this report, 2 public comments were received in opposition to bylaw 2403. They are as follows. Mr. Dwayne Perkins provided the following. I was made aware that there is a multifamily dwelling being proposed at 77 Upland Boulevard from a few people living around the area. Why should someone approve a multifamily dwelling amongst single family homes? We were told that the west end of Uplands was supposed to be filled up before the area north of Walmart. Let's fill up the rest of the Uplands as it was explained to us long ago. Secondly, we had comments from Mr. Adam Herman. He provided the following. I am writing to egress my concerns against zoning change proposed for lot 16, block 13 in Uplands. I personally don't believe that this is a good choice, as we will be mixing existing residential single detached homes with a proposed residential high density. This change will not be fair to the residents in the area that have purchased existing homes on that street. When current Uplands residents purchased property in the area, they didn't sign up to be living in a multi-residential area. I believe this option would be something to potentially consider if there weren't already multi-single residential detached dwellings on the street currently, and one right beside the proposed zoning change. I do understand the need for more high density properties as demand for rentals continues to soar in the region. I would like to propose that instead of rezoning existing single detached area, the city considers potentially exploring the option of making another subdivision with residential high density zoning in mind. The potential area would be between the college and the quad ball diamonds. I understand this would require additional spending from the city to develop, but this would give potential builders in the area access to land to continue to build multifamily dwellings, such as the 4 plexes and 8 plexes currently found on 17th Street East. And that's the end of the comments. In the site context, the undeveloped property was subdivided in 2006 and included in the Northwest Sector Area Structure Plan as a development area with no specific policy governing the development. There is a single detached residence to the west and another 2 lots to the east. The area is serviced with water and sewer on the south side of the alley, and the alley separates the lots from the Walmart parking lot. Legislatively, the Municipal Development Plan provides 2 policies for consideration. A mix of housing densities and tenure is encouraged in new residential developments in order to that variety of housing of choice is available. And secondly, new development should complement and connect with the existing built-up areas of the city. This location is within walking distance of a school, shopping, and future parks and green space. These amenities do make for good long-term success of multi-unit residential projects. Tonight's procedure is a little different. The public hearing was advertised in accordance with the Municipal Government Act and brought to a prior meeting. At the February 20th meeting, Council chose to close the public hearing and called for the motion on second reading. During discussion, Council chose to defer the discussion to Council Committee. At the February 27th, 2024 Council Committee meeting, staff submitted a proposed building for the site and discussed with Council the nuances of redesignating land. Within that discussion, Council was made aware that once the zoning is approved, the applicant would have the right to build any use found under the permitted uses of the district and have potential to build any use listed as discretionary depending on the approval process governed by the Municipal Planning Commission. Council was also advised that upon reconvening Council consideration on the matter, that a second public hearing must be opened and to disclose the discussion at Council Committee, and then allow for further public comment. Then resume your meeting with where your deferring motion had left off at second reading. The decision on the proposed rezoning should be evaluated based on suitability of the land. A policy for mixture of housing needs to be measured against the reality of an area that has already been developed with single unit development. Recommendation, Council consider the above before completing second and third reading. Thank you.
Thank you, Gavin, for explaining the proposed bylaw. All right, so I guess we need to have a person speaking in favor of the proposed bylaw. And I don't believe we have anyone here in chamber for that. No? Okay. And then persons speaking in opposition to the proposed bylaw. We did have the 2 submitted, so we recognize that. And so no one in chamber to speak against it. All right, final comments, Gavin?
Nothing further from me.
All right, I adjourn this hearing at this time at 5:09. Okay.
Okay,
All
we
right,
do have
we're going to do another public hearing. My lucky day. All right. Okay, so at 5:09, we're going to go back in and call this meeting to order. Gavin.
Yeah, through the chair to mayor and council, bylaw 2410 proposes to redesignate land at 1512 and 1514 2nd Avenue East from single detached to residential high density. As per the requirements of the Municipal Government Act, a public hearing must be held prior to council's decision on the bylaw to rezone land. At the time of writing this report, no public comments had been received in favor or in opposition to bylaw 2410. The undeveloped property was subdivided in 2007 and included in the Southeast Sector Area Structure Plan as a multifamily development area. There is an adjacent single detached residence to the north across the alley. This area is serviced with water and sewer on the south side of the lot in the street. Your legislative and planning context, the proposed rezoning complies with the following residential development objectives of the Southeast Sector Area Structure Plan, which is bylaw 0307, within the following policies. Policy 36124, higher density multifamily developments will be encouraged in the following areas, and you have a listing of 3, with the last one being along 2nd Avenue East. Policy 36125, design guidelines may be applied to multi-unit dwellings and single detached duplexes and semi-detached dwellings. Multifamily housing will ensure the following: that external character and appearance of the building must ensure that the architectural integrity of the site and surrounding dwellings. Comprehensive site planning will be encouraged in order to ensure proper relationship with the existing and proposed development of the area. Site design will ensure proper egress and access to major roadways. Buffering or screening may be required along the edge of the property for the development that is potential to create land use conflicts with existing or potential residential uses. And development adjacent to 2nd Avenue East and other major collectors will reflect appropriate design, being highly visible locations. Design will ensure amenity space is provided for the dwelling unit and is sensitive to existing or proposed development in the area. Building orientation should be directed to the street in order to enhance the experience of the pedestrian, to enhance the safety of the community and the development, and to facilitate opportunities for social exchange. And each dwelling unit should be designated with the consideration of privacy, territoriality, individuality, identity, and access to sunlight for habitable rooms and private amenity spaces. Your next steps: public hearing was advertised in accordance with the Municipal Government Act and the City of Brooks Land Use Bylaw. The decision on the proposed rezoning should be evaluated based on the suitability of the land for the intended use outlined in the Southeast Area Structure Plan. Recommendation that Council complete 2nd and 3rd reading this evening.
All right, anyone speaking in favor of the proposed bylaw? Seeing none. Okay, anyone speaking in opposition to the proposed bylaw? Seeing none. Gavin, any final comments?
None, thank you.
All right, I will call this public hearing adjourned. All right, item 7 on our agenda is correspondence and information on council updates. Moved by Councillor Prentice that the following items of correspondence be received as information: updates, call for conferences and workshops, accounts payable and listings, and notes from council committee from March 12th. Anybody want to? Yep, anything you want to report on?
Nothing really major. The Alberta Recycling Management Authority held another second workshop on extended producer responsibility, and essentially it's working through a spreadsheet that municipalities can use to determine the impacts and the responses to the program. And so there'll be a third one, and hopefully by the end of that we'll have a better idea of what this really means for us and what our options are.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anything? Councillor Wardrop.
Thank you. So Deputy Mayor Goodenough, CAO Alan Martins, and myself attended the Alberta Municipality Spring Caucus in Edmonton on Thursday and Friday, March 14th and 15th. A couple highlights. There was a great presentation on the potential for drought in the province in the upcoming years. And as 2024 is a high risk for wildfires, the current critical shortage of water, particularly in the southeastern portion of the province, we learned of some different ways that other municipalities are mitigating that risk, and we're looking at ways to responsibly reduce water consumption and ways that we can be more proactive in reducing water to prevent a critical shortage in our region. Advocacy as well was a focus in the day and a half. We had many ministers come down and have conversations with us. Alberta municipalities continued to have dialogue about the need for increased capital funding for municipalities. Again, we, as municipalities, we requested 1.2 billion. We received 722 million, and that has fallen quite short of what we need to provide the services that we need to provide. So that was something that was continually brought up and advocated for. The other thing that was brought up strongly was the province's push for bringing political parties into municipalities, and a lot of discussion was had on that point, particularly just the rationale as to why the province is wanting to go in that direction. Again, brought up the public outreach, 3 surveys in 4 years, 2 by the province themselves, that very clearly shows the majority of Albertans do not want this. Municipalities really don't want this, but still the province is really looking like this is something that they want to get done. So we saw there that Alberta municipalities will continue to advocate on our behalf on that topic. And well, I think those 2 are the big points that kind of came from the 2 days, the capital funding and the municipal political party issue. I believe that's all, and if I missed anything, Deputy Mayor Goodenough can cover that.
Yeah, always these caucus meetings are good, Alberta Munis. You learn a lot, they stretch you. It was interesting on the water conservation. Obviously, it's us being down the south, it's a little different situation, and we've heard reports from our own EID. But I think that Councillor Jessica is going to talk to that actually about water here and conservation in our area, the importance of that, and I'm looking forward to seeing our city be proactive in that. It is worrisome as wildfire season is starting up and different areas of the province, so they're asking that everyone would do their part. So that was important. The other thing was really interesting was the conversation of respecting council and working with council and having, although you may not agree with everything that happens in council, but having a mutual respect and understanding within the organizations. And that was a good lesson for us all to learn. And we're always growing and striving to be a welcoming and inclusive community. So that was really good to learn from and to hear from. And it's always fun to hear from our elected officials, different MLAs, and bring in their perspective on why they vote in certain ways that they do that maybe we do not agree with or see as a municipality. But they kind of stood before the group and heard a lot of complaints, but I think there was some positive things too. And I'm always open to hearing when an MLA can explain with rash and reasonable that maybe doesn't line up with my ideology on why I felt maybe something wasn't funded enough or not. But to hear the explanation was good. So I take it away as a good learning experience, and we're able to promote our events that's coming up here in the region, the I-Cubed, and got that out to all of our different municipalities. So that's exciting to see that. And other than that, that would be my report on that. Anything else to report on from council? No? Okay. All right. So to the motion by Councillor Prentice that the following items of correspondence be received for information, updates, council conferences and workshops, accounts payable, notes, council committees be accepted as information. All in favor? Okay. All right. Now on to business number 8, proclamation, and that will be Amanda.
Thank you. Through the chair to Deputy Mayor and Council, on March 5th, 2024, an email was received from the chair of the School Age Care Directors Association of Alberta regarding lights on After School Alberta Day on April 19th, 2024. Participating in the association's annual Lights On After School Alberta celebration shows support of and shines a light on the positive impact out-of-school care programs make for children and families throughout the province. This province-wide event highlights and celebrates how before and after-school programs keep kids safe, inspire them to learn, and help Canadian working families. In addition, before and after-school care programs provide an impactful time for children to learn and develop essential life skills, leadership, and engage in their communities in ways they may not otherwise have the opportunity to experience. This year, the association is asking municipalities to shine a light by lighting up monuments and landmarks in blue and yellow. And for this reason, City Hall will be lit up in blue and yellow in recognition of the impact these programs make and to recognize the educators who make these programs possible. Therefore, the School Age Care Directors Association of Alberta respectfully requests that April 19th, 2024 be hereby proclaimed as Lights On After School Alberta Day in the City of Brooks.
Any questions to that? Seeing none, moved by Councillor Wardrop that April 19th, 2024 be hereby proclaimed as Lights On After School Alberta Day in the City of Brooks. All in favor of that? Great, thank you. Carried. All right, proclamation of Municipal Involvement Day. That will be Amy.
Thank you. Through the chair to Deputy Mayor and Council. Each year, the city hosts Municipal Involvement Day for grade 6 students in our community, and the purpose of this day is to familiarize the students with local government. Letters will be sent to the schools inviting students to submit an essay discussing why they'd like to be mayor or councillor for a day. The teachers review the essays and choose the 4 best from their school to submit to the mayor, and the mayor reviews the essays and chooses the 7 students who will become the junior council. The students chosen are taken around the city to tour various city facilities, have lunch with Mayor Petrie and city staff, and then participate in a junior council meeting in the afternoon. Therefore, administration recommends that May 22nd, 2024 be hereby proclaimed as Municipal Involvement Day in the City of Brooks.
Thank you. Any questions to that? This is always a good day. I believe Councillor Dries last year joined Mayor Petrie in encouraging the students, and so it's always something that we can look forward to. All right, moved by Councillor Nesbitt that on May 2024 be hereby proclaimed as Municipal Involvement Day in the City of Brooks. All in favor? Great, carried. Okay. Proclamation World Water Day. That will be by Councillor Jessica.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. So for 2024, World Water Day is March 22nd, and this year's theme is Water for Peace. But World Water Day is especially timely this year in light of the current short and long-term water availability concerns here and across the country. And even here in the EID, where we thought all our needs were going to be looked after, we have a serious cause for concern. So every year, World Water Day raises awareness and inspires action to tackle the water and sanitation crisis throughout the world. It is the United Nations observance coordinated by UN Water and led by one or more UN Water members and partners with a related mandate. The theme of World Water Day 2024 is Water for Peace. When we cooperate on water, we create a positive ripple effect, fostering harmony, generating prosperity, and building resilience to shared challenges. We must act upon the realization that water is not only a resource to be used and competed over, it is a human right intrinsic to every aspect of life. I would ask all Brooks residents, not just because of the current situation, but always to be mindful of water as a precious resource and to not waste that resource. The EcoBrooks website has information on water conservation and also has details on city programs such as low water use appliance rebates. So the city's Environmental Advisory Committee, EcoBrooks, is recognizing World Water Day through social media posts leading up to the day. The committee is requesting that Council proclaim March 22nd, 2024 as World Water Day in the City of Brooks.
Okay. Is there any questions to that? Seeing none, thank you, Councillor Jessica. Moved by Councillor Jessica that March 2024 be hereby proclaimed as World Water Day in the City of Brooks. All in favor of that? Good, thank you. Carried. There we go. And now we're going to go on to the BRZ appointments. Thank you. Amy.
Thank you. Through the chair to Deputy Mayor and Council. Annually, as required by the BRZ bylaw, the BRZ board is required to provide a list of new members for council consideration. Administration is requesting the following be appointed for a one-year term effective March 1st, 2024 and ending March 1st, 2025. President Courtney Hebert, Vice President Andrea Flatla, Secretary Treasurer Karen Harris, Director Sandy Haberman Melville, Christy Waldner, Debbie Smith, Nathan Piesker, Dustin Fowler, and Stuart Ward. Therefore, administration is recommending that the noted members be appointed to the BRZ board for the term specified.
Great, thank you very much. Is there any questions or comments on this? Seeing none, moved by Councillor Dries that council appoint Courtney Hebert, Andre Flatla, I'm going to butcher some names here, I apologize, Karen Harris, Sandy Haberman Melville, Christy Wanderner, Debbie Smith, Nathan Pensky, Dustin Fowler, and Stuart Ward to the Business Revitalization Zone Board, effective March 1st, 2024 to March 1st, 2025. All in favor of that? Thank you. Carried. Okay. Now, financial. Shelley.
Thank you. Through the chair to Deputy Mayor and Council. So this report finds the city approximately 20% through the way through the 2024 year. And attached, the report compares actual year-to-date costs with the 2024 budget. Once again, most of the variances so far this year are timing differences because it's still early in the year. There are a few notable events since my last report, which may cause variances to the budget at the end of the year. So first, plexiglass was installed at both of the City Hall reception desks for the safety of the frontline staff, costing approximately $9,800. Although this purchase was not budgeted, it is anticipated that it will be absorbed within the current administration operating budget. The city has now paid their annual property and liability insurance. It was anticipated in the 2024 budget that the cost of the insurance would increase by 7.1%. Therefore, the budget was adjusted accordingly. However, the initial billing was increased by less than 0.5%. We do anticipate additional charges throughout the year with vehicle and equipment additions. However, expect to see at the end of the year a positive variance of approximately $27,500. The anti-entrapment drain covers in the pool at the EID Aquatic Centre were replaced in order to comply with Alberta Health Pool standards. The cost of this project was approximately $13,500, of which we expect to be absorbed within the Recreation Department's operating budget. Even though it was required to close the pool for several days, it is expected that lost revenues were minimal due to the rescheduling of programs and lessons, and the closure was less amount of time than we anticipated. In regards to the capital budget, the Zamboni or ice resurfacer replacement, which was originally budgeted in 2023, is now complete, and that resulted in a negative variance of $53,075. But this variance was because the ice resurfacer that was purchased was an electric Zamboni instead of a propane model, and we did that because it was offset by a $50,000 grant from the Municipal Climate Change Action Centre. Just a note that the budget amounts in the attached capital variance report now include carry forward amounts of remaining 2023 budgets that weren't used. So now we've finalized those amounts and added them to our 2024 budget. So the recommendation is that this report be accepted as information, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Council, any questions at this time?
Great job, Shelley. Great job.
All right, that's a good comment. Thank you. All right. Seeing none then at this time, we will receive it as information. So to the motion moved by Councillor Wardrop that the financial variance report for March be accepted as information. All in favor? Okay. Opposed? Okay, you're okay with it? Thank you. Okay. The Brooks Newell Regional Hydrogen Hub Project.
Great. Thank you for having me here through the Deputy Mayor, Chair to Deputy Mayor and Council. The Brooks Newell region has realized significant long-term benefits from the abundance of natural resources related to the energy sector in our area. To continue building upon the region's foundation as an energy producer and in alignment with the Government of Alberta's hydrogen roadmap, a Brooks Newell region hydrogen hub pilot project is being proposed. The goal of the hydrogen hub would be to kickstart production and distribution of hydrogen in the Brooks Newell region. Studies have been completed which focus on the potential of the industry in the region, but in order to move forward and make this a reality, there are some critical first steps which need to be taken. Grant funding will be sought to support the initiative, and if approved, a pilot project will commence. The pilot project would see a small number of Class 8 heavy-duty trucks converted to operate on a hydrogen diesel fuel blend. The converted hydrogen vehicles would be monitored, and the data collected would be used to analyze the feasibility of hydrogen as an alternative fuel source. Ideally, the pilot project will demonstrate the effectiveness and viability of hydrogen as a fuel source, kickstarting a local demand for hydrogen. Initial commitments from the City of Brooks would include supporting the initial launch, public promotion of the initiative, and endorsing the submission of a funding application. If the application for funding is approved and conversion kits purchased, city fleet vehicles could potentially be used in the pilot project. At that time, staff would work with City's fleet manager to investigate the feasibility, and more information would be brought forward to Council. If the pilot project is deemed to be successful, construction and operation of the hub would be led by Integrated Energy and Power Solutions Canada, IEPS, which is a private sector hydrogen fuel developer. The commercialization of the project will reinforce the profile of the Brooks Newell region as a leader in Alberta's energy sector and potentially leading to significant economic benefits. Therefore, the recommendation is that Council formally provide their support for the involvement of the City of Brooks in the Brooks Newell Region Hydrogen Hub project.
Thank you, Mitchell. I know this is coming from also part of Joint Services. Any questions or comments at this time? Sorry, Bill, go ahead.
Yeah, so where would this be set up at in the County of Newell?
Sorry?
Where would this be set up at? As a hub, what are you talking about as a hub? Is it?
Yeah, so initially that is part of the first phase of the pilot project, will be to sort of study where the operation, the actual fueling location would be. The County of Newell has sort of agreed to take the lead on the role on the project. So you would probably, and because they're also committed to looking at the feasibility of fueling their vehicles, it may be located on their shop site, but again, that would be part of the pilot project, is to determine where it would be used and where that fueling site would be located.
So does this tie in with that plant that was built across opened up here a little while ago?
The one in the county?
Yeah.
No, this would be totally separate. I believe that one was actually a helium plant, so a little bit different. So this would probably, to my knowledge, the first hydrogen production facility in the county and in the region. This would, as it is going to be a smaller scale, yet project that would potentially be able to be moved to a different location if necessary.
Thanks.
Councillor Dries.
Thank you much. This is an exciting project, actually. Can you tell me if the idea is to purchase the hydrogen or actually produce it locally?
Through the chair to Councillor Idris. Yeah, the intention is to facilitate the production of the hydrogen locally as well, and that would be the role of IEPS. Again, that would be down the road. IEPS is a green hydrogen proponent and producer, so they have the technology in place. So they would be the one that would be looking at it. But again, that would be something that would be determined in the earlier stages of the pilot project.
Okay. Did you look at any other similar projects? Like I visited this project at the Edmonton Airport, which they have full fleet of cars working in the airport, but they purchase the hydrogen from somewhere else.
Yeah, so at this point in time, again, the Brooks-Noe region hasn't done any study beyond the Southeast Alberta Hydrogen Task Force, which we were involved in a couple years ago. IEPS has done some of that work in terms of they understand the market and where that production is happening already, including at the Edmonton Airport. So that again would be part of the pilot project. Is that first stage is just sort of seeing what that market is, how it could be set up.
Yeah. Exciting idea. Thank you.
Yeah.
Councillor Jessica.
Yeah, thanks for the information, Mitchell. So when you say council formally provide their support, what exactly are you looking for? A letter of support for the grant process and then access to some of the equipment to convert it over?
Through the chair to Councillor Jessica. At this point in time, it is really just a letter of support. There would be no financial or equipment commitment at this point in time. The first phase would come back to council if successful. The biggest part of that first phase will be applying for funding to move forward with the pilot project. And as we are aware, Alberta Innovates is a leader in this industry, and they would be the one that we'd be looking to apply for funding from.
Councillor Wardrop.
Thanks. So in terms of the grant funding that you're seeking, is that likely to cover the entire pilot project, or is there other infrastructure financial supports that you'll be needing to put this pilot in place?
Yeah, through the chair to Councillor Wardrop. Actually, there is a bit of a breakdown that the County of Newell has put together in a report that they made to Joint Services, and really the funding would be looking to cover the cost of the differential between diesel and hydrogen fuel. So essentially offsetting the cost of providing the fuel to the users of the fuel. It would also cover the cost of providing the conversion kits to the again the suppliers of the equipment. So in our case, the City of Brooks, if they were to make a piece of equipment available, the cost of the conversion kit and installing those on the equipment would be included as well. And then as well, the cost of the actual study and looking at the analysis of the information would be covered. So yes, essentially to your question is that the cost of actually the production would be part of the initial cost of the pilot project.
Very cool. Thank you.
Great, thank you. All right, to the motion then. Wait, she has one more question.
Sorry. It is very exciting. So what about a timeline? Do you have a rough estimate of when we could potentially see this pilot?
Through the chair to Councillor Wardrop. The funding projects or the programs are currently in place. Again, the County of Newell would probably take the lead on terms of the actual administration of the application. I would foresee that the application would be done this year, depending on the funding, and then it'll be a matter of dealing with looking at the feasibility as well, and looking at the setting up of the equipment. In our meetings we've had already with IEPS, they have the technology available. It's something that's fairly proven, but they would have to have the have it constructed and put in place. So that timeline, I'm not sure what their timeline would be, but hopefully sooner rather than later.
Fantastic, thank you.
All right, to the motion by Councillor Jessica that the council formally provide their support for the involvement of the City of Brooks in the Brooks Newell Regional Hydrogen Hub project. All in favor? All right, carried. Thank you. And this one? Okay. Okay, I'd like to read the part or the okay. All right, moved by Councillor Wardrop that bylaw number 2403 be read a second time. And I will read it out. Or do we need okay, I just did. All right, questions and comments on this? This has to do with the Uplands property. Questions? Councillor Dries.
Thank you. So as we already heard, this came to council last time, and then it went to committee. And some of the concerns I have is that the location. This area is a single residential area. In moving to the proposed designation will make that specific plot open to anywhere from a duplex to an apartment building. Okay. I know an apartment building cannot fit there, but technically it could. My concern is still there. And then when we read the area structure, it talks about, yes, the mix of homes, but also it talks about the alignment with what is already there. And when we look what's already there, it is single attached. So I don't believe that it does fit with that alignment. So for those reasons, I still have concerns about approving this.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Wardrop.
I concur. I also have a question for Gavin, if he's still there. In regards to the area structure plan, so the northwest, because the northwest area structure plan doesn't have those design guidelines, but the southeastern one does. The southeastern one, those design guidelines do cover our concerns. Would it be helpful to alter the northwest plan to match the southeast plan in terms of those design guidelines, and then we wouldn't have to go case by case, and we would have those design concerns kind of covered, and applications could come forward, and if they meet the design guidelines, then they could just go forward?
Yeah,
Yes,
to
that's a
answer your
for you, Gavin.
question,
We can't hear you.
to answer your question, is matter of course, amendments to an area structure plan would have to go back through council, likely discussions at council committee about the intent of what policies should be written and how they're written regarding these lands where there is no policy addressing them. And once that was basically put through council, then yes, it could be brought forward for amendment to the document where you seek clarification on what's allowed and where.
So then I guess my question then would be to the rest of council, is that something that you believe would be useful if we had looked at that area structure plan and had those design guidelines brought up to par with what we like in the southeast plan?
Councillor Prentice.
With these two complaints, are they within that block of where that is, or are they just in Uplands anywhere? Like, are they directly involved? Can anyone answer that?
Their
I can't
location,
address that. Gavin, thank you, please.
yeah, their location is north and up the street about a half a block. So they are in the vicinity, but not directly adjacent or involved in the current block under consideration.
Councillor Jessica?
Yeah, so I did have some concerns about this thing, whether it was the thin wedge or a big can of worms, but you know, the information I've got since then as to the lack of impact to immediately adjacent property owners, or lack of potential impact, and also across the street to the north is a concrete fence in the backs of the Park Place area. So it might not be the prime location. We do need housing, and impact at that particular location, I feel, would be minimal.
Thank you. Councillor Dries?
Yeah. Just following up on Marissa's question, I think the area plan does have all these different things, but even if that plan was taken exactly the same and amended there, and we moved still to a multi-family units, it will still be the same concerns, yes, but those main concerns will still be there.
Thank you. Councillor Wardrop?
Some of them would be there. I take your point, but the ones that we were really concerned about was the external design, character, and appearance. You must ensure the architectural integrity of the site and the surrounding dwellings. The ensuring a proper relationship with existing and proposed development in the area. Ensuring amenity space is provided for each dwelling unit and is sensitive to existing or proposed development in the area. Designed with consideration of privacy. A lot of those things were the top concerns that we had, I believe, on that stretch. And I do really appreciate the need for the housing, and we want to be doing this expeditiously. However, if we did look at this, we could be speeding up the process for more development in the entire area. I'm not sure where because there are other zones that could be developed for multi-family dwellings, and if we did have these design guidelines, there would be very minimal concern from council going forward in terms of I guess these guidelines that we would like to see going forward, or any of the concerns from people living in the area as well. This area structure plan, this is another question for Gavin. The area structure plan, is that just where exactly does that extend to? Is that just the uplands area? The Northwest structure plan?
Generally, yes.
Alan, please.
Thank you. Through the chair to Deputy Mayor and Council. We can look at the Northwest Area Structure Plan. We can put that on a committee meeting and see what we want to do there. Unfortunately, with the application that we have in front of us right now, we have to deal with it based on the area structure plan that's in place and whether or not it is suitable.
I can share my thoughts, right? Yeah, can I? Yeah? All right. I think I'd like to see this move forward and accept this. Reason being is this property hasn't moved for several years. We finally have a development. We have a landowner who owns multiple lots in that area, who is eager to build, who's worked with the city in past projects. I think that moving forward would be, will speak volumes to that community. And again, we didn't hear from the property owners of next door. And I respect the ones that have submitted letters. Thank you for their concern. But I would think that this is an opportunity. We are in a housing crisis. I can't emphasize that enough. We need to see more growth. And I struggle to not push this forward when we're in that type of situation. And with housing costs the way they are, single dwelling homes are not necessarily economically viable for our residents and future residents that are coming in. We need something that is affordable and in that bracket of rental. So, thank you. Any more questions or comments? Okay, moved by Councillor Wardrop that bylaw number, that's okay, you can. Yeah, you can still, yeah, it's just, moved by Councillor Wardrop that bylaw number 2403 be read a second time. All in favor? Yep. Opposed? Defeated, okay. Okay. Okay, moved by Councillor Prentice that bylaw number 2410 be read a second time. And all right, questions or comments? Councillor Dries.
So, and maybe this question is for Gavin. I know this is not the request we have in front of our, in front of us now, but can I make a motion to amend the can I make a motion to amend the motion to actually have that whole block designated multi-family dwelling?
Yeah, I would prefer that you didn't make that motion this evening. Part of the process is that we circulate and let people know about what is coming forward, and whereas somebody might not have been opposed to a single portion, they might have concerns about the whole block being rezoned. Now, given that, the area structure plan does support the whole block. So I believe council could, because this is city land, could certainly bring back the rest of this and then move that forward.
Okay, and I was just going to clarify that by block I meant the stretch on 2nd Avenue, not the whole. Yeah. Okay.
So you make an amendment to it, or it has to go back then? Alan.
Through the chair to Deputy Mayor and Council, we, as Gavin said, if we're changing it, we do have to go back, you know, for a public hearing to get their input. So we can't really accept the amendment at this time.
So we can carry on then with the motion, and if it's defeated, then it would go.
Yep. And we certainly can move forward to, even on our own behalf, to do that process of rezoning the rest of that block along 2nd Avenue.
So just for point of clarification then, your amendment would not affect this motion on the floor, but you want to look at a broader look then, so we can still move forward on this motion. Am I correct on that? Okay. All right. So all in, if there's no more questions? Oh. Okay.
Just for clarification, Councillor, are you referring to lots 18 to 27 then, or the whole? Okay, thank you.
Okay. If there's no more questions then, all in favor? Not at this time. No, it's got to go, it'll get deferred back to council committee for conversation.
Right, just for clarification to council, we can't really accept that motion as an amendment to this, because before you can do anything like that, you'd have to have a public hearing on that bylaw, which we haven't had.
Councillor Idris.
Can I have a motion to table?
Yeah, you're more than welcome to do that.
Now you vote on the table.
Okay, I'll let you write that out first. Okay, moved by Councillor Dries that second reading of bylaw 2410 be tabled. All in favor? Opposed? Defeated. So now we'll go back to the original motion, moved by Councillor Prentice that bylaw 2410 be read a second time. And we've already gone through questions, so I'll look for a vote. All in favor? Opposed? Defeated. Okay. Right, yes, it needs, and it needs, just for clarification for those that might be watching, it needs to be passed unanimously, right? Unanimous? No, okay, never mind. Okay, let's continue on here. Moved by Councillor Dries that bylaw number 2411, being a bylaw of the City of Brooks in the province of Alberta, be bylaw to set a rate for the business tax levy on businesses located in the Brooks Town Center Revitalization Zone and be introduced and read a first time, and that'll be Amy.
Thank you. Through the chair to Deputy Mayor and Council. Annually, Council must consider the annual budget as prepared by the Board of Directors of the BRZ and provide notice to the ratepayers of the budget consideration at its regular meeting to be held April 15th, 2024, and pass a bylaw to set a rate for the business tax levy on businesses located in the Brooks Town Center Business Revitalization Zone. So attached is the bylaw for 2024 showing the assessed value for the BRZ, the approved budget by the BRZ board, and the mill rate that will be applied to the ratepayers. Therefore, bylaw 2411 is being presented for first reading. After first reading is approved, notices will be sent to ratepayers with a copy of the budget and new mill rate. And ratepayers are invited to submit any concerns to administration prior to the April 15th council meeting, as a public hearing will be held before the bylaw is given second and third readings.
Okay. Any questions on this? No? All right. Motion to accept. All in favor? Passed. Thank you. Moved by Councillor Nesbitt that a public hearing be held on April 15th, 2024 at 5 p.m. to gather public input regarding bylaw number 2411. All in favor? Good. Passed. All right. Questions from the media? Sandra online? No? Okay. All right. Moved by Councillor Jessica that the meeting adjourn at 5:58 p.m. All in favor? Thank you. Thank you for everyone.